Welcome to the deep dive.
Got to be diving in.
So today we're looking at something really quite fascinating. It's happening in Singapore.
Right, at Regency Public School.
Exactly. Just picture it. Students in a public school there. And suddenly they're getting access to, well, a global academic experience.
It does sound remarkable.
It is. And we want to explore how they've teamed up with an organization called Map My Study to actually make this happen.
Okay.
So that's our mission today.
Yeah.
Understand the nuts and bolts of it.
How this collaboration works.
Yeah, and what this unique international exposure means for these students right there in Singapore.
And the really striking part is the partner institution, isn't it?
Totally. A highly respected Russian university. How does a school in Singapore connect with a globally recognized university in Russia?
That's the question. Let's find out.
So where do we start? The school itself.
I think so. What really stands out is how proactive Regency Public School has been. The information we have points to a very clear vision from the leadership. The school Regency is the term used.
Okay, and their vision is?
To make their students open for the world. It's not just talk. They've, actively taken a step.
Right, taking the initiative.
Exactly. And think about the context of a public school in Singapore. For them to prioritize this kind of global link.
It says a lot.
It really does. It signals a real commitment to pushing past maybe the usual geographical limits on opportunity.
You have to wonder about the thinking behind it, Seeing the value and just going for it.
Definitely forward thinking.
Okay, so the school has the vision. Now this group, Map My Study, they seem pretty central to this.
They do. They look like the key facilitator here.
The bridge?
Yeah, exactly. The bridge between Regency's ambition and, well, the actual opportunity.
And the source specifically mentions their work with HSE University.
Yes, that collaboration is highlighted. It seems Map My Study isn't just passing on info. They're actively bringing this specific summer program to Regency Public School.
Like a catalyst, then. Making it happen on the ground in Singapore.
Precisely. Making this international chance accessible where it might not otherwise be.
Okay, so Map My Study connects the school to the opportunity. And the opportunity is at HSE University in Russia.
That's the destination.
Let's talk about HSE. It's described as top-ranked, global recognition, vibrant international student community. We've got the website, hse.ruin.
Yeah, those descriptions are important. Global recognition suggests, a certain academic standard.
Right, international benchmarks.
And the vibrant international student community, that's key too.
Why particularly?
Well, imagine you're a student, maybe going abroad for the first time, knowing you'll be in a diverse, welcoming place.
Make a big difference.
A huge difference. It suggests they know how to handle international students, make them feel part of things.
Okay, so the specific program. It's a summer camp.
Right, at HSE University in St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. That's incredible in itself.
Absolutely. Rich in history, culture.
Yeah. And the dates are June 30th to July 6th, 2025. And look at the places they visit.
Wow.
Hermitage Museum, Kazan Cathedral, Church of the Savior on Blood.
Wow. So it's not just sitting in lectures.
Not at all. It's clearly a deep cultural immersion alongside the academics.
That blend is really what makes these short programs impactful, I think.
How so?
Because the learning goes way beyond the classroom. You get this tangible connection to the place, the history. It makes it, well, more memorable. Broadens horizons in a very real way.
Makes sense. Now, who's it for? It says prospective bachelor's and master's students.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not just for the current high schoolers at Regency.
Right. So it suggests it could serve a couple of purposes. Maybe inspire younger students about studying internationally later on.
Or for older ones, maybe think about uni or postgrad.
It gives them a direct taste of what HSE and International University is like. Could really influence their next steps.
Okay, so what's actually in the program? Lectures, seminars by HSE professors. That's the academic core.
Yep, the substance.
But then cultural events, city tours, we just talked about those, and networking opportunities.
That sounds like a really well-rounded package.
It does.
And that's often the strength, The lectures give you the academic insight, maybe different teaching styles. The cultural stuff gives you context, understanding, and the networking, connecting with other students, faculty from different places.
That could be really valuable long-term.
Invaluable, potentially. It's about building that broader understanding, academic, cultural, personal connections.
And they get a certificate of participation, too. A tangible takeaway.
Always good to have.
Now, the fee. What does it cover? Looks pretty comprehensive. Tuition, accommodation, cultural program, even welcome and farewell events?
That's helpful. Bundling those core things, accommodation, activities, it makes it much less intimidating for students and probably their parents too.
Yeah, less hassle.
Right. You can just focus on the experience itself, not juggling all the logistics.
Okay, let's talk benefits. What does a student really get out of this? The InfoList's International Academic Experience.
That's fundamental. Getting that experience early, it builds adaptability, broadens how you think, fosters a global mindset,
Things that are pretty valuable today,
increasingly so. And then there's the cultural immersion in Russia.
which, as we said, seems quite deep, not just surface-level tourism.
And that's important. True immersion helps you understand different ways of life, different perspectives, builds empathy, communication skills across cultures.
It also mentions global networking with students and faculty. We touched on that.
Yeah, and those connections can last, you know? They might lead to future study opportunities, collaborations, even career links down the line.
Building that global network early. It's a real advantage.
Definitely.
And then, more practically perhaps, enhance your CV and future career prospects.
Absolutely. In a competitive job market, international experience really stands out.
How so? What does it signal to an employer?
It signals initiative, adaptability, that you're willing to step outside your comfort zone, that you can likely handle diverse environments. It shows a broader perspective.
Makes sense. And all this happens while exploring St. Petersburg's landmarks. Quite a setting.
An unforgettable backdrop for learning.
Now, there is an application deadline, mentioned May 15th, 2025. That passed now.
Right.
But they do provide contact info, phone numbers, emails, a website, myduprotect.com.
Which is still useful. It means people interested in, say, future programs or just learning more about this collaboration.
They have a way to reach out.
Exactly. The door isn't necessarily closed just because that one deadline passed.
And here's a point that really jumped out at me. The source emphasizes Regency Public School is the first to be introduced in the summer camp in Pan-India through this particular setup.
That is significant. First in Pan-India.
What does it tell you?
It really highlights Regency's pioneering role here. It underscores just how proactive they've been. Positions them as a leader, really, in finding these innovative paths for their students.
And maybe a model for others.
It could absolutely be a blueprint. You know, a local school partnering with a facilitator like Map My Study, connecting to a global university like HSE. Other schools in India might look at this and think, maybe we can do something similar.
Expanding horizons, quite literally.
Yes.
So if we boil it all down, what's the core story here? What's the main takeaway?
I think the core is Regency Public School in Siddhapur showing really remarkable initiative, partnering with Map My Study to open this unique door for their students, a door to international academics, culture via the HSE University Summer Camp.
And doing it first.
And being the first in India for this specific program through this collaboration, that's a big deal for the school and potentially for the whole Siddhapur area. It really speaks volumes about their commitment.
It certainly seems like it could be genuinely transformative for the students involved.
Right.
Giving them this window onto the world, new perspective, future opportunities.
Things that might have seemed out of reach before. And that brings up a really interesting thought for you, the listener, to ponder.
Go on.
How might initiatives like this, driven at the school level, start to reshape education in, say, smaller towns or regions? And what are the potential long-term benefits for individuals and maybe society of giving students this kind of global exposure much earlier in their academic lives?
It's definitely something to think about, ripple effects.
Exactly. It's something to mull over.
Yeah.